Hi everyone, and welcome to your Forever Home, and happy Wednesday. Today I wanted to talk to you about paint colours and how you can actually go about choosing the right colour. Now, what prompted me to talk about this as the topic today is I've seen on quite a lot of Facebook groups who are renovating and so forth. There's quite a few groups on Facebook that I follow, and people were asking for advice on colours. And I see this happen a lot where people are asking for advice on paint colours with absolutely no reference to the orientation of their spaces and what sort of light may actually come into their room. So I wanted to actually touch on a couple of things. Now, firstly, the other thing that happens is I see so I get asked really early on in the process, what colour should I paint my home, the walls inside. And for me, it's one of the last things that gets decided when you are going through a build or a renovation. There are thousands and thousands of paint colours and variations of different paint colours. So it's not something that's going to be difficult once you've chosen all your other colours, i.e. your cabinetry colours, your tiles and your flooring and so forth. And so, as I've said in previous lives that I've had with regards to the floor and why you choose that first, the paint is one of the last things, the paint colours is one of the last things that you'd actually go and choose. Now, I'm going to talk about internal colours for now, but the principles are really relevant also to external colours. And again, I see people choosing a paint colour for the external timber weatherboards that they have, and they might choose a small swatch and basically paint the entire house that based off a swatch. So the principles that I talk to you about now with regards to internal paint colours, you should definitely use for the exterior as well, even more so, I think, because the sun hits it in such a different way. So one of the things that came up on one of the posts that I was looking at was, I'm going to paint my house white on white. And again, I'm talking from an interior perspective. And my comment back to them was, look, white on white has got a very strong blue tint in it. And so even though it looks super crisp and you couldn't get any whiter than Dulux white on white, depending on how the light actually hits that colour, will actually throw off hints of blue. And so, I gave this advice to that person that you need to be very careful. Now, I find that if you do want a really, really white interior, is to go for Dulux Vivid White. It is actually the identical white that's used for ceiling white, and it's probably the most neutral white that is there, and it doesn't throw off hints of the blue or the yellow that can often be seen in other whites. And of course, which white, I get asked that so often as well, which is the right white to use for my interior? And there are so many different whites. Now, in the Dulux range, and don't forget, no matter what paint you're going to choose, what brand of paint, you can use a colour tint from any other brand. They don't need to match up. So, for example, you could use a Hames paint, and then you could use a Dulux colour that goes into that Hames paint. So don't get worried about what the brand of paint is that you're going to use and feel like you need to use the same brand of colour. And so going back to the white that you're going to choose for your home, so if you've got a warm-based colour palette, and by warm I mean going more down the route of the browns and the beiges and so forth, versus a cool colour palette, which is more down the grey route. So that's going to be determined what's going to go on your walls by the other materials that you've got in your home. So if you've got a really warm floor, then it's much better for you to use then a warmer tint or hint of white on your actual walls. And so that's where you'd use a warm base white. Now, a great go-to white is natural white. It is slightly on the warmer side, but it is a fantastic white without it looking too stark white. Vivid white is a real brilliant white. So if that's what you're trying to achieve, then that's a great white to go for. But our natural white is a little bit softer and can work a little bit better in some scenarios. If you're going down the slightly grey, slightly cool colour palette, then Lexicon Quarter and Lexicon Half are a great colour for you to look at as well. Lexicon is incredibly popular. Now, the other really popular colour from the Dulux range is America White USA. And that is a very creamy, yellowy white, and it was quite big back in the day when, you know, beiges were quite big, and trust me, beiges are coming back. The warm colour palettes are coming back, and the greys are on their way out, which is pleasing to me because I'm a naturally warm person in terms of the colours that I choose. But that Antique White USA, sorry, I've made an error. Antique White USA has got a lot of yellow in it, and it can actually be too insipid and really strong on the yellow, depending on where you're using that colour. Now, for any colour that you're going to choose, be it a warm or a cool, the really important thing that you need to do is maybe narrow your choices down to 2 or 3, and actually either get an A4 from your designer, get an A4 printout, which is not available at, you know, your local hardware store, and pin that up on the wall and have a look at it in bright day light. Maybe that's your morning light or your afternoon light. And then also have a look at it in the evening, because the way that the light's hitting the wall is going to affect how that colour looks. So you need to put it on each wall and see how different it is based on those different times of the day, and just if there is any underlying hue that gets produced by the light and how it's actually bouncing around in that space. So even if you decide that you're going to use the same colour throughout the whole home, I really encourage you to do that exercise, maybe upstairs and downstairs, the back of the home and the front of the home, because the way the light is hitting that space is going to be different in each of those rooms. And that's how you'll know that you've actually got the right colour, and you won't be in for any hidden surprises. And make sure you get it into the corner as well, because the way that the light hits the corner is different again. And you need to do that exercise then also for your exterior part of the home as well. So I had a client who painted the exterior of their home. They did a swatch, which was fabulous, but they put it down the south side where, 1, no one was going to be going, and 2, that's where the light wasn't really going to be hitting that wall. And I mean, most importantly, no one was really going to see that side. So I don't think they wanted to have different colour swatches on the front of their house, but it's really important, particularly if you've got sunlight hitting the wall, you know, at any particular time of the day, the colour is going to be bleached out. And so even though you think you're choosing a really quite a, you know, mid-range or even a light colour, it's going to be much, much, much lighter when the sun hits it directly. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about quickly was just some of the Hames colours. Now, I'm a big fan of Hames paint, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, they have a fabulous low VOC. This is actually something else that I put in the forum. Someone was talking about Dulux wash and wear. I have absolutely no problem with Dulux, but the reason I gravitate to Hames is the quality of their paint is really, really superior, but it doesn't have the superior price tag. So they're very reasonably priced, but they have a really, really good concentration of colour, and the thickness of their paint is really good as well. So they have a fabulous wash and wear equivalent. So by that, it means that you can basically wash that wall down a little bit with a sponge so that you can get off dirty marks. So fabulous for a family situation. And the other great thing about it is that with the Hames one, it's low VOC, and that's volatile components and basically chemicals that are being released in the air, which you're really trying to avoid. And so paints can release a lot of chemicals into the air, so you should always be looking for a low VOC paint. The other fabulous thing that I love about Hames, it is a family-owned business, and they're based in rural Victoria. So not only do I like supporting family businesses and not supporting big massive conglomerates if I can, but it also means that they have got amazing service, really good attention to detail, and and they've got a really good quality product at a great price. So for me, that are just all amazing reasons why Hames is a great paint to use. And I'm absolutely not getting plugged by Hames at all and not paying me for this. That is just what I suggest to all my clients. And painters love it because it is such a great paint. If your painter is not keen to use another brand of paint from the paint that they traditionally use, it's probably because they are getting preferential pricing on the paint that they are using, and you want to make sure that that pricing is being passed on to you as well. Right, so just in regards to the Hames colour palette, and it's sort of pointless me showing you these. I suppose I will, but it is a little bit pointless because, again, I suppose this proves my point. They are looking completely different here than what they are in reality, and they'll look, again, different on the wall. And so when you're picking up your swatches from, you know, your local hardware store or wherever, one, you need a bigger swatch colour. I would never, ever let someone choose a colour based on a small swatch, but these are printed. And so you know how you see a colour on the screen and it's totally different to a colour that you see in real life. It's the same thing. Something that's actually printed is going to be completely different to what the paint is actually like on the wall. So make sure you're getting a little sample pot and just going that extra mile to make sure you've got the right colour. Now, some of the ones that I gravitate to from Hames, so Natural White and Lexa Concorda are absolutely ones that I gravitate to in the Dulux range, as well as Vivid White. And I use Vivid White a lot on trims because they really make the colour on your walls pop. And particularly if you're wanting that really fresh look on your trims, and that's your skirting boards, your door frames and your doors and so forth, then that Vivid White is just fantastic. But the ones I love in the Hames range are Greyology. So if you are into the greys, I mean, they just call it Greyology and then I call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's really easy. But the other one is Pale Mushroom for a little bit more intense colour, but definitely in the warm colourway. The one I love a lot is Minimalist. And the reason I love this is it's almost like a greyish, so that warm grey style grey. So it's not too cool, but it has got a hint of grey in it. So it's not too beigey. I know a lot of clients don't like the yellow, and this definitely doesn't have the yellow in it. It's more a really modern day warm. And so I love this. Be mindful though, in certain light, this can actually look quite grey, and in other light, it can actually look like quite warm. And this is a perfect example of how the light actually changes the way a colour can actually turn out. They've got other ones, Whitewash, Nearly White, Organic is fabulous for those warm colour tones, and Polar Bear as well. And then, of course, you can get your quarters and your half strengths. Refuge is another one that I love to use. So Oak Buff gets a little bit into the more yellows, but, you know, they are great. And then, of course, they've got all their whites. And Dulux do this in the same way. They're the two main colours that I use. Of course, I do look at Taubens, Portis paints and so forth, but I suppose these are my go-tos, and they're always in my toolkit whenever I'm going to see a client. So, look, I just wanted to give you a heads up on, you know, paint, that it's one of the last things you choose, not one of the first. We've got so many more different paint colours that we can choose from than what we do in terms of other materials. So make sure that's last. I generally have a look on site when the plaster's in, and you can really look then against a white background rather than it being another colour that's already there. Make sure you do your swatches and get it right. It is worth that little bit of extra effort to do that. Also just wanted to let you know it's the last 3 days of the launch special for Your Forever Home, the First Steps online course. So it would be silly of me not to let you know that you've only got until 6 p.m. on Friday to take advantage of over $900 worth of bonuses that I'm offering for the launch special. So you get a consult with me, you get a free copy of the book that I'll sign for you, and you'll also get access to the Facebook online community where you're able to be supported with your question and answers throughout your Forever Home journey. And then you'll also, yes, get the consult with me, as well as a bonus module, which is a comparison between a volume builder home and a custom home, and why going down one route may be better for you. So don't forget, those bonuses are only available until Friday. So check it out at whitepebbleinteriors.com.au/courses. And tomorrow night at Reese in Brighton, I will be live and on location in our bathroom masterclass workshop that I'm running there. Lots of information to design and plan your bathroom. And so there's lots of tips in a great location in a showroom where Reese have got some fabulous products. They put on some lovely nipples and a bit of sparkling. So it's a great opportunity. Come down and say hi. I love meeting people and seeing everyone's smiling face and knowing that I can impart lots of great knowledge. That's free. So that's also available. Tickets to register are available from whitepebbleinteriors.com.au/upcoming-events. Not the easiest URL to remember, and I've been slipping up myself recently, but if you just click on events on the homepage, that'll take you to all the events that we're running for the rest of the year. So I certainly hope to see you on the inside. I'd love to see you tomorrow night. And if you've got any questions about paint and how to choose your paint colours, by all means, shoot me a question in the comments. And I will no doubt see you tomorrow, but don't forget at 10 a.m. on Friday, that's 10 a.m. every Friday, I'll be here checking in to answer any of your questions and to go through a topic of choice on the day. I'll see you then. Bye for now.